Hey, thanks for clicking in. Today, I'll be making poor man burn ends or chuck roast burn ends. These are perfect to make when you don't want to cook a full brisket. They also cook faster than a chuck roast since, well, they're cut up into small pieces. Add in as much or as little sauce as you want. The end result is a perfect bite-sized, beefy, peppery goodness that will melt in your mouth. I'm excited to be using the Slow and Sear Kettle for this cook. I want to give a big shout out to S&S Grills for sending me this awesome grill. Now to get started, we'll want to light up about 12 charcoals. Once they're lit, I'll add a quart of water in the reservoir. This is for moisture and temperature control. For extra smoky flavor, I'm placing in 2 apple chunks and some B&B lump charcoal. To make cleanup a breeze, place some aluminum foil on the charcoal grate before we start cooking. Let's close the lid and get our chuck roast ready. Now check out this chuck roast. Now you could certainly cook this as is, and I have, but for these I'll want to cube up. Remember that during the cubing, be sure to remove any excess fat away from the meat. I've seen some people cut their meat into 1-inch cubes, but I'm going a bit larger than that. The size of the cubes don't matter, as long as the cubes are relatively the same size, they should cook evenly. For the seasoning, I'm really trying to let the meat shine, and I'm only using salt, pepper, and garlic. The ratio I'm using is 2-to-1. That means 2 parts pepper, 2 parts kosher salt, and 1 part garlic powder. Apply liberally across all of your cubes. Now you can place these directly on the grill. However, for easier transport to and from the grill, use a wire rack and place all your seasoned chuck roast cubes on the wire rack. The most important part is to make sure there's a bit of space between them so they can get even bark throughout. Let's get these on the grill and check back in an hour. Alright, we've been rocking at 275 degrees Fahrenheit for about an hour, and the bark is forming nicely. Let's give it another hour. The S&S kettle locks in temperatures beautifully. I'm really impressed with this grill. Okay, it's been another hour for a total 2-hour cooking time, but it's time for the second part of our cook, the braising process. After that, they're going to melt beautifully. Let's remove from the grill and place them on an aluminum pan. They still aren't very tender, but the bark is right where I want it. Let's drop in some butter. These are my first time making these. I basically followed Malcolm Reed's recipe. I like his recipe over the others because he didn't use as much sugar during the braising process. I've seen others add honey, brown sugar, a ton of salt, and I feel all that sugar would hide the beefy flavor. But doing it his way, the chuck roast will really shine with an amazing beefy, smoky, peppery flavor. But if you like your burn ends sweet, you could also dip them into some sauce at the end. There's no problem. Okay, so for the braising liquid, I use 1 cup of beef broth and 1 cup of barbecue sauce. Mix together really well before adding to our pan. Next time, I might try to experiment with different jellies and sauces, but for now, let's make the smoky meat be the star of the show. After wrapping the pan nicely, it's time to put back on the grill and let it braise. After about 90 minutes, the burn ends are pretty much tender, but I feel they need just a bit more time. Let's let it roll for an additional 30 minutes. The total cooking time for this cook has been 4 hours. Now it's time to remove the pan and unwrap. Wow, the smell is amazing. Now let's check for tenderness. Oh yeah, super tender. And they still hold together very well. Let's mix all of this into our delicious braising liquid. And let's plate up. These are wonderful. Let's drop in some sauce and see how they look. Perfect mouth-watering bites. Let's give it a taste. Peppery, tender, super beefy. Personally, I prefer them without the sauce dip, but feel free to try them both ways and enjoy them however you want. Now, are these as good as actual brisket burn ends? Not exactly, but they are still amazing on their own. I cannot wait to make them again. Especially for guests. They'll be a hit for sure. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.